Good morning, afternoon, and evening. This is the FGEN Experience. Documenting interviews and conversations between first-generation students at the University of Portland. In our first episode, Mellonie Mwawai's mission to bring first-generation voices to the forefront of the University of Portland begins, starting with her friends majoring in chemistry, Elizabeth Gushtyuk, Bryan and Michelle Rodriguez. Each of these three students share a unique identity that only 20% of the UP student body share. They are planning to be the first in their immediate families to graduate with a bachelor's degree. Though these are science-centered students, the first-generation identity applies to many individuals within the UP community and the world, and bringing these thoughts and connections to the fold is the foundation of Mel's podcast. Recorded all on campus on March 19th, 2021, we hope you enjoy Mel's collective interview with these three students.
Hi, my name is Bryan. I am a senior chemistry major with a Spanish minor.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I am a junior biochem major, ACS also, and I also have a fine arts minor. I am from Vancouver, Washington, and I'm a first gen.
Hi y'all, as Melanie said, I'm Michelle Rodriguez. I use she, they, them pronouns, just fun as hell. And I am a first gen here in the US. Technically not fully first gen if you think about it, because my mom went to college back in Colombia, but
Okay.
It's a whole other system, right? So
Yeah.
in terms of like first gen, I am first gen here in the States.
What does first generation identity mean to you?
Yeah, first generation identity, to me at least, because like I said, my mom went to college back in her country, is being like the first person to go to college in the States, and part of it's your resources, right? You might have family that's gone to college, but they might not be close to you, so you don't have those resources anymore. So for me, when I talk about first gen, I usually think like your immediate family. You know, the first one like in your immediate family to go to college or get higher education at all, like graduate, don't graduate, but it's important, you know, and I think it really depends on country to country, because if you have something that's maybe a little more similar to our current situation within the college, I guess. I keep talking about college. I don't mean college, but like in higher education where you come from a similar system, you have more resources, I think, going into applying and trying to navigate our system versus like my situation. My mom went straight into like a career path, and we had no clue coming into college, like what's the process for applications, what's the process for financial aid, how do I deal with financial aid, and what can and cannot do. If that makes sense.
Yeah, like I get it.
So yeah, I think that's
Personally,
the biggest thing for first
also
gen.
like for me as a first generation, that was also like a huge struggle. Like trying to figure out how do I even apply to college in a new system that I don't understand.
Right, and that was
Yeah.
big. And then it's like I had to go. I remember applying. I had to go to all these seminars. I went and talked to a bunch of. I'm lucky. I have my uncle's boyfriend happens to be a college professor outside of like UP. He works in the East Coast, and he was kind enough to sit down with me and like explain to me the different types of colleges that they have. Their research schools, your liberal arts schools, the differences between like a big school and a small school in terms of funding and
Yeah.
scholarships, and how I should go about processing that.
Yeah.
I think it's a big part of like who I am as a student. You know, it's one of those things where, shoot, I messed up. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, can I just keep going? Yeah, it's a big part. I didn't really know I was first gen. I just never assumed until I was in college. And then, you know, the community is so welcoming here, and Matt is super nice and everything. So I've been more involved in that community. Like I did Destination Declared and stuff like that, helping people out with finding their majors, especially people who were first gen. But yeah, I know it's a big part, just like the anxiety that goes along with being first gen.
It's been a big, like, responsibility. I don't know. I feel like my family doesn't think it's a big deal. They all, like, make fun of me for it, kind of, saying, they call me college girl. They tease me about it, but I have 9 older siblings, and I only have my mom, and they're all pretty conservative. And I go to a university in the middle of Portland, so we're bound to have different views. And I don't bother fighting them about things because I don't want to fight about it with them. Because like they'll tend to gain up on me, all 9 of them, and my mom too. So it's hard to talk about stuff like that. I try to keep the conversations about the family and what we're having for dinner or whose birthday's next.
Yeah, I understand that. It can be very hard, especially like trying to speak your mind in a family where they're already intimidated by you for going to college. Like, because that's for sure my experience as well. But I'm kind of lucky right now. I'm living with people who've gone to college, but my actual family, none of them went to college. I mean, all the men went to college except the women, so it was already gendered based. So I'm the first woman in my family to go to college, and so, and as you mentioned, like I don't talk about school or anything. I just check in with them, how they're doing, what they ate for dinner, and what they're gonna do the next couple of weeks, if they have any huge plans and stuff like that, but nothing more than that. Because anytime I try to bring school up, they don't understand what I'm talking. My stepmom doesn't understand what I'm saying, and then it becomes a huge argument between who's God and who's human and science, and it just gets too complicated and messy. And so I just try not to even bring it up, but sometimes it gets brought up and they feel like they're too stupid around me, and that's not my intention. Yeah, but I guess it's good to know that there are other people like you out there experiencing the same thing. What are some of your other identities, and how do they intersect with your first generation identity?
Yeah, I identify as queer Hispanic, so I am genderqueer. I came out recently, so that's
exciting.
A whole other story. But yeah, how does that intersect with my first gen identity? Clearly, for me, a huge part of my identity is that I am Latina. I'm Hispanic. And now queer, but when I initially started applying, I identified as a female Hispanic STEM major, and that made me feel like a minority. Like, we're all used to like the statistics of like male majority in STEM fields, like first generation. I'm the first one to do something in the country. The immigration status is being an issue in terms of like my family can't help me in certain aspects of my applications or funding for things, right? So I think that plays a huge part in who I am as a person, and also like how I go about handling my college experiences and applications and any issues that might arise. I'm like, my parents don't qualify for this loan, so how can I get this next loan, or how can I adjust my aid, or what can I do?
And so going off of that, I know you're now a senior, and over the past 4 years, what has been the biggest challenge of your college career?
The biggest challenge, aside from classes, because we all have that one class. We all have that one class, so it just screws us over. For me, it's been dealing a lot with like financial aid and figuring out where I'm going to get money from to pay for my next semester. I'm fortunate enough to have an academic scholarship that's lasted all 4 years. But every year it's going to talk to financial aid and tell them I need to adjust this loan because my parents don't qualify for this loan, or me trying to figure out how I'm going to pay physically, because I'm practically paying mostly on my own. My way through, I had saved up prior to college. So it's like what loans are under my name. Now I have to figure out, now that I'm graduating, how I'm going to get the money to pay off the student loans, and when, and how to get a job and do that stuff. Because my parents can't apply for these loans anymore, so yeah, so that's been like the bigger thing, like funding has been the bigger thing in my end.
And did you ever use your first gen identity to get scholarship based on first generations?
I have tried. Unfortunately, that's not been a situation for me that's worked out well.
Yeah.
I'm in this kind of weird particular thing where I passed for first gen, but I have enough experience like in college and my parents, with my mom having gone to school elsewhere. Yeah. Where I don't think it fully encapsulates the first gen identity. And I come from a family that's in a situation, a very much more financially stable situation than other families. So I've applied, I haven't gotten any.
Yeah.
scholarships, and they're competitive scholarships. There are a lot
Exactly.
of freshmen out there, and I was satisfied with the scholarship I have from the school was sufficient, and my loans aren't huge, and I've been very thankful that financial aid's really worked with me to help me through, and I've been very lucky that the faculty that I've talked to about my situation financially, I've been submitted for scholarships that are not related to freshmen, and I've received scholarships from outside the school for other reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know if it like I don't have many other identities as like in terms of like race or anything because I am white and my parents are Caucasian and stuff. So I don't really have like an ethnic identity, I guess. But
My family came to America from Ukraine in 1999, and I'm the only one born here. And when I grew up, they didn't really speak to me in Ukrainian. I never learned the language, so. But like the only thing that I really connect with, like Ukrainian culture and like Romanian as well, is like the food. My older sisters are always, and my mom too. Like we've always had the same like Eastern European cuisine. I've always loved that, and I would identify as Ukrainian, as an Ukrainian American, even though I was born here. But like it's always been a thing.
So what is your greatest passion or aspiration at the moment?
Well, let's see. My greatest passion is still science, I guess. I'm a chemistry major. I think I should point that out. I'm a biochemistry. I focus on biochemistry, but I applied to get my PhD in inorganic and material sciences, particularly in computation. I still love chemical knowledge. I love learning. That's what drives me in life. I want to know everything. I want to help learn. I want to help teach. So I think those are like my biggest passion, knowledge, the discovery of knowledge and just application of knowledge and helping others gain knowledge. So contributing to the greater knowledge of the world, I think is probably one of my biggest passions and aspirations at the moment. I will get in, I will be reapplying. So
That's exciting. Never give up.
Never give up, never surrender.
I do what I can. Oh, well, I moved out last year from my mom's house, and I completely cut myself off from any funding from her, because when I was a freshman I wanted to live in the dorms, and she helped me pay for that. But after that, like sophomore year, I still lived at home. I would commute from Vancouver to here, and I really didn't like that, but it was a plus because I didn't have to pay for rent. But after sophomore year, I moved out in the summer to a house right across the street from the practice field. It's great. And I'm paying for everything all by myself. I don't have any help from my mom. And of course I'm getting scholarships from the school, who isn't, federal aid. Thankfully I qualify. But it's still not enough to cover. I have to work a lot to pay what I can for tuition, and most importantly, it's like every day thinking about, do I have enough money to buy food, to go shopping now? I should just wait because I have to pay utilities, or I'm trying to save up money for my tuition payment for the month, or I used to work a lot when I was a freshman. I used to work 4 days a week. I'm a CNA, so it's like 8-hour shifts. And I have another job. I have 2 CNA jobs, one in an adult care home and one in a facility. And I work a 12-hour shift at the adult care home every weekend forever now, since my freshman year. And it's really hard keeping up with schoolwork and working so much.
Yeah.
But overall, my goal is not to have debt. So far, I only have $5,000 from freshman year, because I lived in the dorms and I took out some loans. But sophomore year, I'm completely paid off with tuition. And last semester, I'm completely paid off. And this semester, I'm on track to get paid off completely. So I'm really hoping, I'm trying my best not to have debt, because it's important to me that I'm free as I can, so I don't have to worry about it. Because a lot of people take out loans, and that's too much for me. I can't imagine. But it's a lot of work, balancing school and work. And it's that word, sacrifice I've chosen to make?
Right now is just to do well in grad school. Yeah, I'm going to U of O in the summer, so I just want to do well in that, and I want to be the best scientist I can be, and then after that, I don't quite know where I'm going to go after my master's program, but yeah, just doing well in that, and then being the best employee or scientist I can be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you value change?
Yeah, I do. I think you should be. I think you should be able to adapt to change, and I think it's an important thing, really. You know, if you stay comfortable for your whole life, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think with change comes growth, and that's a very important thing for everyone to do. So yeah, no, I love change. I love putting myself in opportunities or in situations where I need to change, or you know. Yeah, where I need to, you know, something needs to change, or I need to experience new things. Yeah, I think that's something I've really become more, I value more now than I did when I was coming into UP. I just remember, you know, I'm a pretty naturally shy guy, so that was a lot. I mean, even coming to UP, it was a big change for me from high school, and you know, even though it is a small school, like I came from a pretty small high school, and just the, you know, big, just overwhelmed me a little bit. But then I like realized that that's it's a good thing. Meeting new people is great. That's a good thing. Change is a good thing. And I've grown a lot, and I'm super proud of myself, and I'm happy that I've had that opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that you've faced over the past 4 years?
In
college or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that like when I first came to UP, like the first month for me was super stressful. Like I almost dropped out. Like I wanted to go home and go to a community college, just because I felt like that was easier for, you know, more comfortable. I was with my mom. I could be with my parents and like live at home. And I was like, oh, it'd be cheaper. It'd be great, you know. And yeah, that was just, it was so intimidating because like it is that first gen kind of experience where it's like you don't know what college is like. I never had gone, like my parents didn't go, so they had no idea what it was like. And so coming into that and having to see, like, you know, it seemed like everybody else was making friends faster and everyone was knowing what to do faster than I was, and I got a little overwhelmed, and it was because of Matt actually that he kept me here, so I owe a lot to him. Yeah, because like, can I tell a fun story about him? Or maybe not. So like he was my 8th grade PE teacher. Yeah. So we've known each other for a very, very long time. And so, you know, I met him, I took like, what was it called? Aim for Excellent in the summer before I came into UP. And
I took it too.
yeah, and I met him and I was like, oh my God, like I remember you. And he was super nice, and obviously, but yeah, he was willing to like be like, okay, Bryan, if you want to leave, like you can leave, like that's fine, I won't stop you from doing that. But he also said like, I think you have a great opportunity here at UP, and I think that you would thrive here. And I mean, I have. And so like I've gotten to do things that I went to Spain with Dr. Hoffman and Dr. Bard, and I've got to do research that I never thought I'd be able to do. So I think that's something amazing. And
yeah. Now that you mentioned that you were doing research, can you tell us more about that and how you got that opportunity?
Yeah, so I did my first I've done 2 projects since I've been at UP. My first project I applied for, I went on the UP Palentia undergraduate research expedition, summer of 2019, and I applied for that and got into that. And then I did most of my research with Dr. Walters. I worked with Dr. Bard and Dr. Hoffman kind of closely, but I wasn't, Dr. Walters was like my advisor. And so for that I did XRF, X-ray fluorescence, and Raman spectroscopy on 2 15th century paintings, and a couple like illuminated manuscripts, and a book of hours, which is like a prayer book. And I did so pigment analysis on those to like date them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I finished that project last spring, and then this summer I've been working with Dr. Hall, and I've been doing using finite difference time domain method to model the optical properties of triangular nanoprisms. So basically what I'm doing is using a software build the nanoparticles that we would have in the lab to test them before we do it. And then we're using that to understand like the sensitivity of, if I change the outer environment of the nanoparticle, because that affects what wavelength, the lambda or the wavelength, the peak wavelength that will be emitted by it. So I've been doing that for the last year. But yeah, that's what I've been
exciting.
doing. I know, yeah.
See, yeah, it's once you find the right resources, it's easy to get by in college.
Definitely. And I mean, in terms of just like a piece of advice, like reach out to your professors, because like the reason I got my second one with Dr. Hall was I just like asked her one day after class. I was like, oh hey, I'm looking for like an internship for this summer, and she goes, oh well, I'm hiring, so like feel free to apply, and here I am now. So yeah.
How does your FGEN identity and cultural identities inspire you to achieve that change?
Have they? It's less of I'm an FGEN going to college. It's more of like, as a person, I'm going to college to like further my knowledge in life. I feel like if you gain knowledge, you're more fulfilled. You're more fulfilled in life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
And so it's more of like, I want to have an interesting life, and I want like to do things that are greater than just staying at home. And not that it's bad, like staying home and being a stay-at-home mom. All my sisters do that. It's fine, but I want to do something that like I can contribute to the world, and have like a deep understanding of a certain subject. That's important to me.
That's awesome. If you look back to your freshman self, what would you tell your freshman self?
I would tell my freshman self just to get out more. Get out more. Go have opportunities. Go out and experience campus life. Don't sequester yourself away in your room, and not everyone's like you have to kind of put an effort in. It's not going to just come to you. And and again, like there's so many resources, and it's okay to talk. Like if you feel like that you're not fitting in, whether you want to talk to Matt or somebody else or like help and counseling you, but it's not. If you're feeling like you're having a problem or something, go out and talk to people and have conversations it's not. And I also tell them like, don't be afraid to like open yourself up to people. Like it's sometimes easier to just kind of close yourself off and like not be who you are, or kind of be a just not be who you are. And I think it's important for you to be like your truest self and like go out. And I've made great friends by being like that, and I mean it's served me well. So
yeah. So could you tell us more about your cultural background? And you mentioned being Latina.
Yeah. So in terms of my family background, my dad's from Mexico, and I have this great appreciation for our school system and for just education, higher education in general. My dad didn't finish middle school as far as I know, so I come from a family where my mom finished college, my dad did not finish school. So like if we look at things like very basic mathematical situations, like my dad can do basic math and stuff, but once we start talking about like negative numbers, prime numbers, stuff like that, my dad doesn't have that knowledge. He's incredibly smart. He runs a business. He is very language oriented. He picks up languages like nobody else I know, like Portuguese, French. He speaks Mayan. And he's a very intelligent guy. Unfortunately, he just, if he were to be like stuck into our school system, I don't think he could make it through exactly. For lack of a better word, just from lack of knowledge, but incredibly intelligent man. Then we have my mom who did finish college and knows all this crazy mathematical stuff, and they come from different education systems, very different socioeconomic systems. My mom was like on the wealthier side when she was living in Colombia when she was growing up. My dad came from a little town, little town somewhere in Yucatan, Mexico, where he didn't have access to all this stuff. And so I think my cultural background between like being Latina, I'm very proud to be Latina, and I lived through that identity and seeing where my parents grew up has given me a new appreciation for what I do have, like the opportunities I have. I take every opportunity I get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I lived in Colombia when I was young for about a year, and I saw poverty, like true poverty, children like living in poverty, living in the streets, skinnies, rich showing, you know, so yeah, you just gotta take every chance you get, and sometimes it's hard, and you know that, and you know, we're an ideal, yeah, we don't live in an ideal world, and we just gotta take every opportunity we have, and don't take things for granted.
Sure.
We take a lot of things for granted, and I think I've come to realize that, like, throughout the years, I've met so many people that take the little things for granted, like, oh, it's just $5. I'm like, that $500 or that $5 can make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're like trying to pay the bills or if you're trying to pay your way through school, you know, and meeting students with language barriers. I've worked with the Hispanic population back in high school because we're the only school that offered English Language Development 1. You know, it's just coming in like high schoolers not being able to read an analog clock. You know, teaching the basics of math, and you just realize like, oh crap, I learned this like in elementary school. These little things we take for granted. We have the resources to do better. We should empower ourselves to do better.
I agree. So, what's your favorite movie or TV show?
Ooh, okay. Favorite
Or
movie?
book?
Okay, I'm going to give you all three. My favorite movie is Nightmare Before Christmas. Always has been and probably will always be. Favorite TV show? I'm trapped between MasterChef and Letterkenny right now. If you want a good, like, witty banter that, like, requires you to think a little bit, watch Letterkenny. It's on Hulu, guys.
Mm-hmm.
MasterChef is great for watching and learning how to cook. And my favorite book continues to be Dracula by Bram Stoker. Yeah, really good book. If you haven't read it, give it a read. It might be a little tedious at times, but I definitely encourage you to read it.
Yeah,
It's great.
what is your favorite food?
Yeah, you're asking the hard questions, girl. Favorite food? I don't know right now. Anything that doesn't have egg in it,
Okay.
because egg allergies are a real thing. You know, no. My new favorite food has been, I found this recipe for eggless brownies. I haven't eaten brownies in a year, so that's my current new favorite food, eggless brownie.
Awesome. And what are some of your hobbies?
Hobbies. I rock climb. That's probably my biggest thing right now in terms of like athletics. I rock climb. I play guitar. For myself, I like to sing. I love to dance. Dancing is a lot of fun. I taught my partner how to do the salsa with my parents. We salsa merengue, just blast music in the
Bachata.
I don't know how to bachata.
Oh.
You kind of get away with it, but like we just blast music in the kitchen while I'm cooking.
Yeah.
And while we're waiting for things to cook, I just like, no, come here, you're dancing with me. So we do a lot of dancing. I cross stitch. That's another thing. Do a lot of cross stitching, some drawing. That's most of what I do. I'm usually consumed by schoolwork or housework.
Yeah.
The realities of adulting. Can you talk about the fact that adulting is a verb, though? We're all adults, but nobody likes adulting. It's a
Exactly.
big difference, friends.
There's this one book I read in high school called, what was it called? Oh my gosh. It was called The Scorpio Races. It was only a single book. Such a good teen romance book. But I have fond memories of it. Favorite show? I wouldn't say I have a favorite show. I watch a lot of anime, not gonna lie. A lot of... I used to watch a lot of K-dramas too, and that was fun in high school. Movie, I'm the type of person who hates to rewatching things. If I see a movie once, that's enough for me, so I don't have a favorite movie either.
Okay. That's fine.
And like, I don't like rewatching shows either. Like, why do people do that?
What's your favorite food?
Either ice cream or sushi.
Okay.
When I was in high school, we would go to church every Sunday, and sometimes after church we'd always get sushi. That's a
And
fond memory.
what are some of your hobbies?
I have a fine arts minor. I mean, the school doesn't offer a fine arts major, and definitely art, like painting and like drawing, and I've taken figure drawing twice, and it's so much fun. And I mostly I like to use watercolor, but lately I've been doing pastel work. But it's really like I'm really sad about it because I haven't done like anything at all lately. Like in high school, I used to carry my sketchbook with me around everywhere. But like I'm like so busy, like doing homework 24/7, or going to work, or walking to a lab, or like trying to make myself food. You know, it's hard. I don't have time to do art lately. Hopefully when I graduate, I don't have to do homework. I'll be able to do more things.
I really liked the X-Files when I was younger. I like that show. It's about it's like an alien. They like hunt aliens and they're in the FBI.
Like the blockbusters.
Yeah, kind of like I don't know if you not like would be a good example. Yeah, basically it's just like I don't know. I always liked it and. Superhero? Yeah, I like that show. Or Game of Thrones is really good, except for the last season. But
the last season was poop.
I know. I mean, it made sense like for what they were trying to do. I kind of got it. Like I understood why they did it, but like it wasn't good. Yeah, and in terms of books, I've kind of gotten into poetry lately. So there's that. I've been reading Federico Garcia Lorca. So that's been
I
fun.
haven't read that person, but I've been reading Maya Angelou. So
Okay, yeah, I've been trying to get into Maya Angelou. Yeah, my sister like has a couple of books from there. So, yeah, no, I've been trying to get into that. That in Butler, or Yeats. Sorry, my bad. William Butler Yeats. He's like a famous Irish poet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What is your favorite food?
I really like. Let me think. I really like tuna, just like simple tuna. Just like it's my favorite. Like I always enjoyed it when I was a kid, and yeah, no, I just like it. And saltine crackers, you can't get anything better. And in terms of drinks, Diet Coke is my thing. I love it. I know it's not good for you, but
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I had soda.
Oh yeah, I need to stop. It's bad. I have a Diet Coke addiction, so it's really bad.
Yeah, and what are some of your hobbies?
I really like to work out, runnings. You know, I just do it to like be a stress reliever. You know, it's something else. Then it gets my mind off of school for a little bit, and yeah, again, like reading and stuff, and watching YouTube and Netflix and stuff is always good, and just to get your mind off of what you're watching, off of school, and kind of detox a little bit. I've like love documentaries and like learning new things about that. So in history, so because I was a history major a long time ago before I was a chemistry major. Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like if you're a first gen student out there, talk to your professors. Talk to your counselors, reach out to financial aid if you need that help. Everyone was super friendly. You'll find help somewhere, you just gotta look for it sometimes. And don't be discouraged if you're like, oh, I'm first gen, I don't think I can get into this school, that school, or whatever. You never know if you don't apply. You all have something to contribute to the culture of your campus, and you all have amazing stories to tell and to share. So don't give up. Don't be discouraged. You guys can make it through this.
Thank you for listening. If you're a first-generation student or faculty member at the University of Portland who is interested in speaking on this podcast, particularly with a friend, classmate, or mentor of yours who is also first-gen, don't hesitate to reach out to John and Norman to schedule a time and place to record. Our emails are hartj22@up.edu and hilker22@up.edu. Support for this podcast comes from the Public Research Fellowship Program and the First Generation Program of the University of Portland's Shepherd Academic Resource Center. The First Gen Experience is written and directed by Mellonie Mwawai, editing and sound by Jonathan Hart and Norman Hilker, funding provided by the Public Research Fellowship Program.